All right, welcome back to the Great Rabbino. I'm in sweats today because I'm talking to someone who's been a longtime friend, Avi Carr-Gloth. For those who don't know me at all, and maybe just know me as a rabbi who loves sports, I do also rabbi on occasion. And one of those years I spent in New Rochelle, New York, with, as I like to call them, the Carr-Gloths, the Cars, and the Gloths, because they all have different last names. And Avi was just a young whippersnapper back then, but now he's in the world of sports. Avi, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me. Good to talk to you. Good to catch up. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute, and you're doing great things, and that's why I want to talk. So let's talk about where you're working.
Mhm.
You're working for two stations right now, Fox 24 and ABC Big Two in Odessa, Texas. Tell us how you, a boy from Ohio, but also from the East Coast, ends up in Odessa, Texas, the home of high school football.
Uh, well, I went to. I'll start in college. I went to college, Emerson College in Boston, to get my journalism degree. Wanted to work in television. Then within that, knew I specifically wanted to work in sports with television because sports is the best. And I had a job. I got this job shortly before I graduated, and I had it during the summer, working for NESN, the New England Sports Network, working behind the scenes with a lot of Red Sox broadcasts and making sure the pre and post game shows ran smoothly, operating cameras, audio, keeping studio clean, working with talent, all that. And during that process, the immediate aftermath, I guess, of graduating college, I was applying for all these jobs all over the country. I put my reel, like basically like a compilation of like all my on-air hits, stand-ups, all that. I put that on YouTube, and just a couple of days after putting it on YouTube, this news director from this station in Odessa, Texas, reached out and said, "Hey, saw your reel, like your stuff." I had a little bit of news and sports in there, which is what they were looking for. He told me to apply for their job. I interviewed, and then the rest is history. And so I got that job by the end of June, this past June. And then by the end of July, I was on TV in West Texas.
So I assume that you've not met Smash Williams, right? From Friday Night Lights, for those who know that reference. But I'm assuming, and this is just my assumption from like looking at the country and sports world, that like there is football season in Texas, and then there's everything else. Is that true?
Yep.
And what happens to the news cycle once high school football, and let's say the Cowboys too, are done?
Yeah, so I would say this: it's like you got high school football, a bit of a drop down, Dallas Cowboys, and then there's everything else.
Okay.
Like there's people care way more about their high school teams here than they do about the Cowboys. Although the Cowboys are still sacred here. It's just different. I mean, part of the reason they wanted me to get going, in late July is because football season is there. It's so cool. I mean, there's nothing like it. Like I mean, if there is, I haven't seen or heard of it or experienced it yet. I mean, just these towns shut down. I mean, it's like these stoplight towns of like a few hundred people. They're all at the stadium on Friday nights. All you can see when you drive into these towns, you can tell where the stadium is just by looking and seeing where these lights are. Like they're literally like the lights part of Friday Night Lights is real. Like they're like a geographic place in these towns, and I mean, nothing else matters except for how your team did, or are they in position to win district or make the playoffs. And I mean, some of the big schools around here specifically, I mean, we got football stadiums here that are primarily used for high school games, seat like close to 25,000, like for a high school stadium. Like I covered a game where like Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, did the coin flip like for a high school football game. And I like got to meet him very briefly. Like that's a big deal. Like he's a person. These stadiums just go, bonkers. And I mean, if you have like any little piece of news about high school football or their team or a player, a new coach, like that's what leads our sports blocks every time. If it has to do with high school football, that's what people care about. And that's something I really love about living here, is that people care a lot about their local teams. I don't think that's the case everywhere. People don't care as much about their high school teams in every community across the country, but here people really do. And so like our Friday night shows on during football season, they're our most watched shows. They're, sponsors pay the most money for. That's families are gathering around the TV set or their TVs, on Friday nights just to like catch a glimpse of, potentially their boy making a play. So, I mean, I tried to describe it just now, but it's selling it way too short. Like the words that I'm telling you right now, they don't do it justice. It's something you really just have to experience.
All right. I'm figuring out, I'll have to find a hotel that's walking distance, but sounds like if there's 25,000 seating stadium, that maybe there'd be a hotel nearby one of those.
Oh, there's so many. Not just here in like Midland, Odessa. Those are like the two bigger places. And then there are a lot of other tinier towns. Even those like tiny little towns, they all have hotels and stuff there. Like even there, like there are people who will come in just to watch like a 1A game or a 6-man, like that. There are plenty of hotels. Like the hotel industry in this area has a big boon when it comes around.
That's awesome. So you always were a kid who was interested in sports. You and I used to shoot hoops every once in a while.
Yep.
But is that passion for sports as a kid is what drove you to this, or was it the journalism piece? Like, why are you picking up your life, moving to Odessa, Texas?
I'll just say really quick before I answer that. You just mentioned we used to shoot hoops a bunch. I remember there was one time in like my backyard in New Rochelle, and we were shooting hoops. And I was, we were taking turns shooting, and you saw me shoot once, and you were like, the ball doesn't move when you shoot. Like there wasn't like a rotation. And I was like, oh, I guess there's supposed to be. And so then I started changing that. And so you gave me a nice tip there. So
there you go.
you triggered that memory. And I was like,
always coaching,
always coaching. You were like, I've never seen that before. Like the ball is barely moving when you shoot it. I was like, well, I'm making it. And you were like, maybe you should try rotate it. But so there was that. Sorry, what was the question you asked again?
The question is, how does a young boy just love sports, end up picking up his life and happy with it, and moving to Odessa, Texas to cover sports?
I mean, like you said, I've always just loved sports. I mean, when I heard that like people get paid to broadcast it and just talk about it on TV, I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't everybody just do this? Like, who wouldn't want to spend all day being on TV talking about sports? I mean, it's just something I'm really lucky that like I knew what I wanted to do from a really young age. I know not everybody knows what they want to do, but I always like once I figured out, okay, I'm not going to be able to play in the NBA. Once I figured that out, I was like, okay, let me just talk about it. Let me report on it. Let me talk to people. I mean, and especially for like non-professional or like, lower tier college or high school, for a lot of these kids, this is like the peak of their athletic careers. This is as far as they go. Obviously some, they'll go to college, and, even fewer will make it to the pros in whatever sport it is. But like, I'm like a part of like a lot of these family memories and these personal memories of these are my glory days. These are my sports days. This is like this is like family video for a lot of people. And I've always really appreciated that. I mean, when I went to Emerson College, that's a D3 school. Not a lot of them go pro. We did have a player on the Emerson men's basketball team, though, play professionally. He's playing professionally in Israel right now. Fun fact. But most of these guys and girls, and I did the women's basketball team too. Like when I was broadcasting their games, there were people that were like parents come up to me and say, "Hey, thank you so much, for being so enthusiastic about our kid and all that." And it was like, this is the peak for them. This is the last time they'll play college ball. This is D3, right? But it means a lot to them. And so for me, coming over here, I didn't know anybody, no friends, no family. The closest family I have is in Colorado, like geographically. Like that's not a particularly long flight, but still, it's like I'm all here alone. I mean, I just kind of saw it as like, if I want to get to where I want to end up, I got to do this. I got to go somewhere where it's completely out of my comfort zone, an environment that's like different than any that I've ever lived. I mean, I've lived in a bunch of different states. I've never lived, Texas is its own beast. West Texas is its own subset of Texas. And so like I was just telling you, I mean, I grew up a clergy kid, and I moved around a lot when I was younger. And that definitely helped for me, yet again, going to a new place and having to meet new people and get comfortable here. And, I'm working on my 8th month here. I've been here for 7 full months, been my 8th month here. And there are still things that I struggle with, but there are a lot of things that have improved a lot. And so my thinking is, if I want to, this is a trajectory for me. I'm going to end up somewhere someday, and this is what I need to do. This is what I need to do. I need to cut my teeth. I need to be on the streets. I need to really talk to like the people in this community who, like I said, care a lot. And so I guess that's a long-winded answer of me saying, like, this is what I need to do to be successful.
So, Avi, what is that goal? You mentioned that be where I want to be. Is that ESPN? Is that nightly news in a major market? What is the goal for you in the sports journalism world?
Well, the cream of the crop goal for me would be to be a play-by-play broadcaster, specifically in the NBA.
Okay.
I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. It's the one I grew up playing the most. My favorite sports team is a football team, the Cleveland Browns, but basketball has always been something for me that I've always loved. And so if I can do that, but it's slightly different than what I'm doing now, obviously, being, a sports reporter and anchoring in a studio for sports shows, kind of like a newscast. But this is like, I feel like this is like a very beneficial stop for me, because I'm going to be learning a lot of live elements and contact elements, and having to like stack shows and timing and time management and all of that. There are a lot of applicable skills. So, I mean, that's where I want to end up. How I get there, I'm still figuring it out. I don't have all the answers, obviously, but, just getting experience with live TV, with a professional station, and, have reps that will potentially look good to somebody down the road. That's kind of what I'm working towards. If I show up and, kick ass every day, good things will happen down the road.
All right. So I wanted to do a rapid fire question. I didn't prepare you with all the questions, but let's get into the mind of a sportscaster right now. I'm going to throw some questions your way. You give me your best answer. All right.
Yeah.
Will there be baseball this season? And if so, who's in the World Series?
I mean, I think like the longer this goes on with the lockout, the harder it will be to end it. Like the longer, like I feel like both sides have been really polarized on all these issues so far. And so right now, as you asked me today, on March 10th, I don't see baseball happening this year. Not the way we see it. I mean, the closest thing I could see is like a tiny little sprint to the finish. Oh my gosh. And right as I say that,
is there baseball?
I just got an alert on my phone saying that they've just reached a new labor. Right as I'm saying that is the coldest take in human history. My phone is blowing up on baseball is back. Okay, well, I guess there will be baseball.
Who's in the World Series? White Sox?
You would like that, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course I would.
Not my Cleveland Guardians, I'll tell you that. They're not going.
No.
I mean, geez. Okay, well, this is huge. We got baseball back.
Is Aaron Rodgers in a Packers uniform?
Yeah, I mean, he said it.
Okay, Final Four. Who do you got?
Final Four is tough because there's a lot of good teams. I'll throw you a bone and put the Fighting Illini in there.
Big Ten champs. We have a congregate on the team, so I'm pretty invested in that. Brandon Lee. Okay, so those are the fire away questions. You're in a Mud Hens t-shirt. Avi, so great to catch up. Best of luck to you, and send my love to the family, of course. And we're going to see you do big things.
Thank you, and I hope your family's doing well as well. And as always great to talk sports with you, my friend.
Of course.